Welcome to another edition of All Booked Up. I'm Diana Friend, and my partner Kathy Jennings has taken the day off. But I have my good friend Deb Bisel here, and she's going to be talking about her book this Sunday at the library. It's called The Civil War in Kansas. She has approached the Civil War in Kansas a little bit different. Kind of fits with our All Booked Up style, as talking about the people in history like they were people that you and I would know.
Absolutely. They're just as real as you and me. They're just not alive right now. And, when I talk to my sister back in North Carolina, she'll say, I don't know if Debbie's talking about somebody that's been dead 150 years or her neighbor, because they're all the same. And they are all the same.
Well, when people think about the Civil War, John Brown gets all the attention, but there were so many more people that were important in the founding of our state and making those truly hard choices between being a pro-slavery or an abolitionist state.
Or even people who were pro-Southern, not necessarily pro-slavery, who just came to Kansas for the economic opportunity and just wanted to make a life, and there was no way to remain neutral at that time, and so they were forced to choose sides, and it was a difficult time. I came to know a lot of people better, like Cyrus K. Holliday. I love Holliday more the more I read about him. He's so positive. He is like the most optimistic person in Kansas history, hands down, and maybe in U.S. history. And on the banks of the Kansas River in 1854, when he pronounces this is going to be a town, he never looks back and he never doubts it. And even though there's nothing, this crude cabin they were standing in burns down in a few days, and they're sleeping in the bushes basically for a while. And even though the Civil War puts things on hold, he never doubts that there will be a railroad. He never doubts how Topeka will grow, how Kansas will become a free state. And he just never looks back. It's always forward.
He came here from Pennsylvania,
right.
And I thought it was very interesting that you said that it's a good thing that his wife didn't ask him to choose between her and Kansas, because she probably would have lost.
I think she might have. I really do. He loved Kansas like nobody has ever loved it. He's writing letters back to Pennsylvania almost immediately. And he refers to one of them, he refers to his wife, you Pennsylvanians have no idea what we're going through. And she's got to be thinking, who are you? Yeah. You were just, you were just here a few days ago, So it's an incredible experience.
So Holliday gets a lot of publicity. John Brown gets a lot of publicity. If there's one thing that you came away from doing your research for this book that you weren't expecting to come away with, what would it be?
The experience of one of the perpetrators of the Meredith Massacre. And that's an incredibly uplifting story. And while the Civil War in Kansas, the border wars, become a tit for tat, and it escalates, the violence escalates on each side. And the Meredith Massacre is one of those that's just not justified. You really can't find any excuse for this. These guys come from Missouri, line a bunch of guys up around Trading Post, Kansas, and execute them. It's ugly. It's horrific. And there are a couple of survivors of that. And one of those survivors was actually in Parkville, Missouri, during the war, when Parkville was occupied. And he sees one of the perpetrators of the massacre. And the man is arrested and brought before a judge in Parkville. And he says, yeah, I did it. Shoot me. Totally acknowledged it. They said, no, you've got to go to Lynn County for trial. Goes to Lynn County, same thing. I did it. Just hang me now. And they didn't. They appointed an attorney. They had a trial, and he admitted it. They found him guilty and sentenced him to die. And he said, I don't have any clean clothes, just hang me now. They sent for his family so she could spend time with her husband before he died. And his last words on the scaffold were to thank the community for how kind they had been to him and to his family. And they took up a collection in that community to pay his burial cost and gave the rest to his family. And so that coming together of those sides, and there were comments about how people on the border started to get along, and it didn't suit the politicians, and they would find a reason to stir it up again. And I thought that was really profound, that, in the midst of this incredible violence and enmity, that people did forgive one another, and the humanity of it was incredible.
Thanks for joining us on another edition of All Booked Up. Again, Deb will be here this Sunday, 2 o'clock, for her talk on the Civil War in Kansas. Thanks for joining us. Bye-bye.